So hello everybody, my name is Cafe Kaz, and this is going to be the first ever Rengar's Roundtable podcast, okay? Shogun and I got together and we wanted to create a new type of podcast that was going to be more RTA focused, where we could get on a bunch of other content creators, a bunch of other players, and kind of just talk about RTA. You know, it's going to be a bi-weekly podcast hosted over here on twitch.tv/Cafe Kaz, and with that short introduction out of the way, I'll let these two fine gentlemen introduce themselves.
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm Shotgun Shogun, and mostly I pitched this to Cafe Kaz because I didn't want to have to put this together, host it, and or edit it in the long run. So I just wanted to come talk about RTA. I did have Kaz on my Infinite Library podcast a while back, and I had a really good time talking to him, and I really just enjoy talking about RTA and PvP. So bringing other people on who want to talk about PvP, stuff like that, and want to listen to me talk back and forth. I mean, this podcast, Kaz, how long do you have on this? Like 4-5 hours? Because I mean, we could probably fill it up.
I don't know if it's gonna be 4 or 5 hours. I got 4 or 5 questions ready.
Hour-long questions, dude. Easy. We'll just have to put on speed gear to get through it really quick.
True. All right.
Is it my turn?
Yep.
All right. I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here. I do RTA and Epic 7 stuff. I know a little bit, but Shotgun Shogun's way smarter than I am on every game I've ever played that he's played, and Kaz is like the one who taught me how to do RTA. I should probably look at the camera. But I'm just here, I guess, to kind of fill the void and hopefully add something.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, my dude. I'll give you a little bit of an introduction. Deity here is a top 30 arena EU player. Okay, so we got a little bit of an EU perspective here. Okay,
wait, hold on. I didn't know there were 30 people that played in EU.
I'm waiting for it.
He actually ranked number 4, but you wouldn't know that. But anyway, there's no border for number 4, but just have a very nice gold border that I often see. So we're gonna hop right into the podcast questions here, and I'm gonna start it off with something a little bit basic. How is the preseason treating you? We've had a little bit of time now to just test out a little things, just general inquiry. How do you like the preseason so far?
I'll let you start, Deity. Go ahead.
I don't. every game I play, I mean, I love RTA still. I can't lie. But every game I play is always Arbiter Villager, Rylet first pick if you pick SSV. If you pick, it's always the first 3 units are the same for me. Like, I feel like 80% of the time. So I'm hoping a meta shift happens soon. But other than that, it's been fun.
So I've actually been trying out a bunch of random new stuff. My Fire Charles. That's one of the things I really enjoy about preseason, is that I don't have to try hard. So I can just go in, throw whatever I want down. We're going to bring Captain Rickarus today. We're going to bring Fire Dingo today. We're going to go up against Suck with Fire Dingo. It is what it is, because if I lose here, it's not like I have to work, 2-3 days to get back to where I was because my internet cut out. So I think that preseason's a lot more chill. It's a lot more relaxed. Now, the one thing that I do kind of find annoying is the fact that because there's not a lot of people playing, right, you always end up getting matched with like some silver level player, and you're just like, bro, if I lose this, it's gonna suck, because they're going to go tell all of their friends. They're probably going to take a screenshot. They're going to go to the internet. They're going to tell their grandma. They're going to be like, yo, I beat Shotgun Shogun. And be like, bro, I was memeing. And then sometimes I'm not memeing, but then I go, bro, I was memeing. I totally wasn't taking that one seriously because you were bronze. I actually felt bad the one day I got matched up against somebody who was doing their placements really early on. And I just didn't even, it was late at night. I was like, man, I gotta finish this real quick, and I just went all bruiser cleave, and I think my like 170 a Tywin outsped everything on their team. So it was just immediately like Charles, Alencia, then there was like 1 unit left, and then I went a Tywin, and I'm just like, man, I'm so sorry, dude. I'm so sorry. But preseason's going pretty good. I'm not playing as hard as I was during the normal season, but that's because I'm just farming and making meme builds right now.
Yeah, I've been personally very, very on the side of like I'm relaxing. I'm in full relaxation mode. After the legend climb of the end of last season, I was kind of like, you know what? We're just gonna chill. I've seen people pushing up to legend as soon as preseason dropped. I was like, not me. I'm gonna sit in challenger. No. If we get to champion, we can go to champion, and I'm just gonna have fun. I've been theory crafting. I've been in the lab. A Wanda is gonna come out, dude. That's gonna be my toy.
Wanda's so good, man. Hey, you know what? I was pitching Wanda back when she first got her SC, when they brought a bunch of us content creators onto the official live stream, and everybody was like, "Nah, bro, Wanda's trash. SC Wanda, garbage. Who you even gonna use her against?" See? I'm thinking ahead, man.
You were ahead on the evasion meta before it happened. So I was in the lab. I was reading her skills, okay? I summoned on Arbiter Vildred's banner, okay? Which means that I have a plus 30 Sword of Judgment now. Okay, so what I'm thinking is 240 Wanda, okay? Sword of Judgment, so she can proc her first skill. Now, when her first skill procs, you get 15% combat readiness, push the opponent back by 15%, and have a 25% chance to decrease the cooldown of your skill 3 by 1 turn, which gives you 2-turn stealth, and has a plus 70% chance to hit. I can't see it being bad.
And the stun. And you soul burn it, and it's unresistible. I mean, literally, the soul burn into the unresistible is probably one of the biggest things. And like I was pitching on there is you don't always have to, because somebody was like, oh, well, what if they just cleanse? And I'm like, oh, bold of you to assume that you're not going to just soul burn stun their cleanser and then clean up their DPS, and then you come back through and you fight the Amont for like 7 hours. I've used her a lot in Guild Wars, and like as soon as I started seeing, you know, the Moonlight Dreamblade Arby's and the Fat Cat teams, you know, Fat Cat in general, just Moonlight Dreamblade on literally everybody, I'm just like, you know what, SC Wanda's going to be good. And I was a really big MRSA player as well, so it's like MRSA Danger Doggo was my go-to for a long time. And how do you even stop that? Like Oath Key, that ain't going to do nothing against the Danger Doggo MRSA combo. So as soon as I saw that Wanda came out and was just like, boom, F evasion, I was like, yo, this girl's gonna be good eventually. You can't dodge nothing with her, and you put target on too, so that's gonna give you even more chance to hit. So yeah, it's she's pretty. The thing that I really like about 3 stars is that a lot of their kits, especially the SC ones, are just really nutty and very fun to play with. Not only that, but a lot of people have no clue what they do, so you bring them in and they're like, bro, I don't even know what Captain Rickarus does. Like and then you clap them, but then afterwards, then they start banning your Captain Rickarus, and you're like, all right.
Yeah, because then they learn.
I've had to check the hero journal so many times this preseason because I'm like, what does this even do? And I lose to it and I have to go learn, which has been fun seeing the new units.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we do move away. I know, Deity, you mentioned the RB Ryland. Deity actually sends me screenshots all the time, and it was like 7 or 8 matches yesterday of like all just RB Ryland every single time. So I'm hoping that people move a little bit away from that. You know, people just got their RBs, right?
You know how you combat that, right? You just pre-ban RB.
But what about my RB?
Yeah, you gotta use my. You know, I don't want to prevent it.
If you don't use RB, you don't have to worry about it. That's plus 15 worth of Mulagoras that I can put literally anywhere else. You ban RB, first pick Rylet, easy.
They're already going into them.
Yeah, I'm still leveling mine. I've got plus 5 RB right now, right? I'm working on getting him to plus 15. It's weird. I told myself before, and I remember telling my chat, I was like, guys, even if I get Arbiter Vildred, I'm still pre-banning Arbiter Vildred. Nah, I'm cleaning with Arbiter Vildred every single game, dude. As soon as he was like plus 2, he was out of the box, dude. I was using him. It's just so much fun. Feels so good, you know?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess he just doesn't really fit my play style. I'm more of the like, you know, slow, tanky bruiser style of player. I know you're, you know, you like Disable. That is like one of my worst teams to go up against, is the debuff just shut down everything. That's why I build everything with like 200 effect resist. Like everything is 200 effect resist all of my Soul Weavers because I just hate getting shut down. But the
Even
thing is,
Dizzy.
like, yeah, that's actually I bait so many Fliticas with my counter super fat, super high effect resist Dizzy because they just go right into the S3 and then you just counter attack them and then you just raw slash at them. That's just how it goes because you just stunned their CDOM or whoever and then you just kind of chuckle and then they leave. That's a lot of times how that works out. But the thing for me is, like, if I actually did build Arbiter Vildred, see, I would go probably like counter tanky bruiser, just make him super thick, put on counter because everybody's going to come in, they're going to be like, oh, this dude's probably going to have a Dream Blade, a little bit of heft. Nah, man, Dust Devil, counter attack, tanky bruiser, Arbiter Vildred. That is 100% what I would run if I didn't have 700 other units that I want to build ahead of him. I have so many things. I got to finish out Fire 5 head. That's like my biggest project right now because she claps so hard.
Yeah, I've been clapped by Fire 5 heads before. She's so powerful. I'm sad that I skipped her banner, actually. She just got one with Holy Sacrifice, and I was like, do I really want to pull for Charlotte? And regret immediately.
Yeah, no, I literally when the Fire Charlotte showed up in your tournament, the Kia Soul one,
the level 58, yeah,
level 58, and I'm sitting there and everybody's just like, bro, is he memeing right now? Like, did he misclick? Did he bring a level 58 Charlotte into this and then just laid waste to it? I'm like, bro, but his gear is disgusting. I've tried to emulate that, but I would have to siphon gear off of like so many people, and I told myself that after last season I would just build a unit and then I wouldn't touch their gear. It's real hard. It's real hard because I'm always like, well, I got this new toy. Let's just put this over here, and then like, no, because I'm gonna forget what gear is on who, and then I'm gonna go into RTA with a unit with no boots on. Yeah,
see, that's why I always try to lock down my units, keep their gear structured for that reason. But I'm slowly collecting Fire Charlotte gear. But actually, I'm gonna go ahead and move us on to the second topic of the day. And let me ask you though, how do you feel? And I know Deity is going to be really excited about this question. How do you feel about the new RTA mock battle rooms?
Do I start?
Yeah, you can start. I know you've been enjoying them.
This is the greatest thing that could have happened to this game. Like, the only better thing is if it like printed money out for you. Like, the game I can actually play. Like, I'm EU server pleb. That's, you guys saw them make fun of me earlier for it. And I'm sure you guys in chat will probably make fun of me in 5 seconds. But I get to play with people now. So, like, I get to fight Kaz, and I bully him every single time, despite what he says. I still get to beat me on stream a lot, but when we're off stream, trust, I can maybe beat him. But it's added so much to the game for everyone, from EU server, from Asia server, Korea server. We're all one community now. We're able to become one big community, which is so big for the game.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that is true. So now it's like, if you do have somebody that you want to, fight that might be on the EU server, you can set that up tournaments now, where before it had to be, this is a global tournament, this is a KR tournament, this is a EU tournament. Now it's just a tournament. So I think that's really big. And I also like just randomly popping into other people's rooms throughout the day while I'm on like a work call or something like that, and then just like absolutely destroying somebody and then just dipping out real quick. Also sometimes, people in channel 2 where I reside will just be like, all right, we're just gonna make a room and everybody gets to fight Shogun. So, and that's kind of fun too. But I do think that, just being able to like hop in and watch fights as well. And I think that that's really the big thing, because before it was such a pain because, well, one person had to be able to stream. You had to get on Discord, you had to coordinate everything. Now, as a host of a tournament, well, you just capture your own stream because you're literally watching it. So I think that was a huge thing for just like the community tournaments as well, because it really streamlines a lot of the prep that went into it. So now it's just like, all right, man, just show up, get in this room. We're just going to throw people in here and then you guys duke it out. I'm also super excited to actually eventually have JP into the room so that I can stand in Akihabara when they finally let me back into the country, and then just fight people dressed as Bandit Keith. That's my life goal, actually.
That sounds pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
I've personally been enjoying them a lot. Now I've run tournaments in the past. I haven't gotten to run one with the new system. But I can just see how smooth and easy it will be. Because I remember having to ask people and being unable to really accept certain people into the tournament because I had too many people that couldn't stream, right? Because like if you have a 16-person bracket and you have like 5 people who can't stream, what happens if they match up against each other, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to see that. There's just no battle to be had. Now it can be more inclusive to everybody. You know, I have some boys in chat who are Asia server, right? Now they can come on in and it's just so good, right? And I did participate in a tournament recently, and the one thing that I really liked was the fact that you could change the backgrounds too, right? Those background packs that we had, they're finally useful.
Finally usable, yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not one to just, you know, I know you got the function where you can, like, you know, look at your characters and change the back. That's not me, right? I want to fight in the lava, in the Straze dimension. Hey, I'm going to lag my opponent's phone to victory, all right? It'd just be so good.
Yeah.
With this function coming out, do you, like, what kind of tournaments do you think Smilegate will hold, or will they hold? Well, with COVID going on, it's going to be very hard to hold any kind of tournament. But do you think they're going to be hosting like big events?
So
when I first like started getting into the content creation community, I talked to a couple other streamers, talked to a couple of the people that came from Summoner's War, and they kind of alluded to the fact that Smilegate kind of maybe had a similar plan to that with like circuits, leagues, in-person tournaments, stuff like that. And you know, you're right, literally every convention is completely just shut out. So I'm sure that they had probably plans for a lot of those things, right? And I think that as things open back up, it will potentially, I think that they're going to try to, I mean, I believe that there is actually a like a Discord tournament today for the official Discord, because it's the Discord's anniversary, and I think that might be their first little toe dipping into what it would be like to run official tournaments. But I can't imagine that they're not going to utilize that. I feel like they were just waiting for the rooms to make it way easier on them, instead of, you know, like the problem Kaz had where it's like, well, what if people can't stream?
I've had the hopes for a long time that two things. One, so I come from a different mobile game, and in that mobile game, they have huge tournaments, like once a year, huge tournaments. You get a big spectacle. There's a lot of money involved, and you know, for the whales out there, you know, it can kind of pay your whaling that you spend.
Free to plays here.
Yeah, of course, free to play, by the way. But what I was really hoping was that eventually maybe Smilegate could even help to, I guess, sponsor these community tournaments, because it really does bring the overarching community together, even more so now that it can be inclusive to all servers, that like they could maybe, and this is just an idea, like sponsor maybe like 2K Skystones to the winner of like a 32-man bracket or something like that. Just like, you know, give the code. We have the coupon codes available.
Yeah.
And I believe that there's something you could do for iOS as well to get a link so that that code could be activated. But it would just be really nice to have something like that. I know that, or somebody in chat was alluding to the fact that, you know, they are looking forward to this in the future, and I can't see why they wouldn't. Like Shogun said, like I don't see them not taking RTA to the next level, because it's just so huge. It's already such a prominent part of the community.
Yeah, it would be just such a mistake for them to just be kind of like, we got this thing that is very competitive that a lot of people watch. Because I mean, like, look, you know, YD He streams himself, doing RTA all the time, but thousands of people watch YD. A lot of people, watch a shuffles when RTA is happening. A lot of people really like that because that's the competitive aspect of the game. When I played the previous mobile games that I played, I was like, man, why are people watching me just literally sit here and hit the same 3 buttons for like 12 hours, dude? Like, I'm bored. How are you guys not bored?
Lottery
like,
events OP.
yeah. So, at least within this, right, you never know what's going to happen. You're going to go in, you're going to see people just fighting each other. You're going to build those little bit of rivalries as well between streamers. I think that's always kind of fun. And then not even that, but just the rivalries between like the legend players. When am I going to get my diss track, right? Kaz, you got to make a diss track on me so me and you can have like the Kia Soul Warball drum.
Yeah,
but
we need
terrible
some beef
at rapping, so it's going to be a terrible return diss track. So
hey, don't worry, I'm pretty garbage myself. Hey, but yeah, hey, we need some fake beef in the community,
right,
so you get some
right.
Some diss track going. Hey. But yeah, I don't know. It's just so great. And most of my channel has been built off of RTA, right? And I've seen a lot more RTA streamers kind of like building up recently. And it's really enjoyable for the community to watch, even just like the stream snipers. I know they love to watch
Stream
RTA,
snipers,
get in
like
there too. But just
the
fans,
chat.
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's really, really engaging for everybody as well. But I do want to move on to the next question. Not too good at these transitions, but I want to talk about something that I guess is going to be our first, I don't know, opinionated topic. So I actually almost forgot that we needed this question here. Oh, I got it right
She's
here.
trash.
Okay. So here's going to be our first super opinionated question. ML Iseria, summon or skip?
I'm gonna summon because she's super hot goth waifu. I mean, it's
Fair.
waifu for waifu, bro. That's literally, what the game is. I mean, worst case, right? I don't get her. I'm not gonna wail on packs, right? I'm gonna use what I have. If I don't get her, that just puts me closer to pity. If I do get her, well then phenomenal. That was what I was going for. You're closer to pity. Now, honestly, the thing with her, right, is almost every single person I've seen talk about her compares her to RB for Cleave. I don't think Cleave is her job.
No.
Speed bruiser with Sword of Judgment, abusing that S1. The defense break into the double up with the double up on the Aberius Tooth proc. I think that's going to be pretty disgusting.
So I'm gonna cut in front here, and my opinion, okay, is that she's garbage. Okay, now hear me out. I've heard a lot of people talk about her. I've seen a lot of posts on Reddit, on Discord, everybody asking me inside a chat, and they're like, "Hey, yo, Kaz, this is a great control unit. Kaz, this is the next Seaside Bologna. Kaz, this is the next Cleaver," and I'm like, her damage multis are not RB. She doesn't have Alexa's basket, so she's not cleaving anybody. Okay,
right.
She doesn't have any sleeps, stuns, or attack bar pushback, so she's not a control unit. I play a lot of control, right? And that's the one like cohesive factor of my units is that they're controlling you. So she doesn't have that. And then it's like in Seaside Bologna's case, I feel like what makes Seaside Bologna and her drink super OP is that you get the skill too, right? It's not even Seaside Bologna's turn. She's sitting there waving her fan, and she's just throwing off skill 2. She's like, hit my team, right? I'm doing true ignore defense damage to you, right? So I feel like she's just not on par. Now, I always summon 6 for every unit. ML Haste, right? Everybody thought that he was going to be mediocre, okay, even as an AVL counter. I said, you know what? I'll summon 6 for him. I got him in 6. And he's one of my most used units now. So I could be wrong, but I don't know. It just seems so garbage. Just like not exciting enough. But she is great. She's goth waifu. Okay, I loved her intro. It was really, really nice.
Yeah, I think like the big thing though is that she can be used as I've never thought that she was really control. Her by her hit chance, only covers a Moonlight Dreamblade and a Fat Cat. Like, I saw a lot of people, they're like, oh man, this is the Rylot counter we've been asking for. And I'm like, not even remotely close. Not even with an Oath Key is this going to be a hardcore counter. And at first I fell into the drink trap as well. And then I did the video going over like the builds, the numbers, once the modifiers were out. And I kind of settled in that she is a good single target. And I think that she does have that burst potential with the Sword of Judgment. I think that you're going to just get that double up proc, and it's just going to lay waste to pretty much whatever she hits. Because if she gets the defense break, the follow-up is going to kill anybody. I can't imagine anybody living through a double up of that as long as she has a fair to moderate amount of attack on her.
Yeah, the S1s I think are going to actually be like part of one of the best parts of her kit. Like, I think she's almost really good because she does strip all buffs. That's huge. She puts unbuffable. I kind of wish it was silence, so it's something different, because if you could silence, she'd be insane. That could be a change that would make her, I would pull her. Or the other thing would be to give, because the way I would probably try to play her would be like to do as much damage as possible. But then once she does a bunch of damage, she's dead. There's like, if you build her as a damage dealer, she's going to die to anything. An SSB counter, if you don't finish an SSB, which hopefully you don't draft her into that. But if you don't kill the Rylot, because it's going to be hard to do enough damage on Rylot, because especially if you put Oath Key on, you lose a lot of damage at that point, like trying to hit those. So like, is it worth sacrificing the damage for a little bit better chance of hitting, even though it doesn't guarantee it? But I feel like either like putting silence instead of unbuffable, maybe at a lesser chance than the unbuffable proc, or adding skill null, I would pull her. But other than that, I just can't see it working too well.
Yeah, so you mentioned that to me the other day, where you said like they should give her self skill, not AoE, self.
Yeah, just self. AoE's OP, just self, so she can maybe survive one attack, or if she gets countered by Charles, maybe could save her. Or any.
That seemed a lot nicer to me, because like I feel like, especially in an RTA perspective, right? Because that's where I'm looking for my units that I'm building now, right? My main focus is real-time arena, and so she doesn't have any self-protection for herself. When you look at the other prominent damage dealers, like Arbiter Vildred has Immortality, Seaside Bellona has her little Aureus thing, it can be built slow as a bruiser because she has those counters. Remnant Violet has Evasion, Arby has that self-revive, even Spectre Tenebria is hiding in the shadows. Okay, so you pick her into single target, they can't touch her, right? And then I look at Iseria, and I'm like, okay, so I can't build her too much damage, because then they'll sneeze on her and she'll die. And if I build her bruisery, she doesn't do enough damage. So it's kind of like, I'm not exactly sure where to slot her in. And I guess that's my main gripe with wanting to pull her or not, is that I don't know how I would use her, or even in what team composition, because like I said, she doesn't fit into my control comps. And like, people were saying control initially because she has debuffs, right? So they see debuffs, you think control, but it's like she doesn't really fit in there. She's not like the good stripper. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's just weird.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, usually when I think control, I think like speed down, blind, silence, stun, stuff like that. I don't necessarily think that, like, you know, control is a defense break or anything along those lines. So I don't think that she definitely wouldn't fit into that. I do agree with you that there is kind of that weird spot, like where exactly would you put her? What would you take out for her personally? I mean, I use Rylot, so it's not like I'm going to replace my Rylot with her. You know, my Rylot is very heavy speed, bruiser, lifesteal. I'm not going to replace most of my bruiser picks with her. I'm not going to replace an Alencia with her. I'm not going to replace a Little Queen Charlotte with her. But I do think that it'll be interesting to see what other people come up with, because sometimes when you're looking at it from your point of view, it just takes somebody else using it a different way. You know, because like, you know, you might use a unit completely different than I do, and then I go, oh wow, that's actually amazing. And then I start looking into that, and I'm like, you know what? I sat down at the table, you changed my mind. This is actually the really good build. Look at Broman. Look at Broman. Everybody said Broman was garbage, and then people started using Broman on counterattack set. So one of the most fun things I've ever had. It was like my favorite guild war in the world. I'm just like, we're gonna put this is what we're doing today. Almost made me want to put Mulgoras into him. Unfortunately, other people.
So actually, that's a great transition right there, because I have another question, and I think I'll start off this topic. My question is, do you think Champion Zerato is still good, or will you be trading him for somebody else? Because I personally am going to be trading him for Broman, right? I run Ray and Vivian. I haven't been using my Champion Zerato for a long time. I think the 15% resistance thing is difficult to deal with, right? Because if you catch a defense break and you don't transfer it back, you're dead. Okay, he's gone from existence. So I didn't really like him as a one-off. He's kind of a selfish unit, right? I prefer the AoE immunity that like Ray and Vivian have. So I'm getting my Broman. Hey, he's getting buffed. I'm getting 2 buff strip. Fallen Cecilia can't stop me. I got 2 turn silence. It's gonna be great.
It is. I did a lot of thinking about Champ Zerato when he got his change. I did some theory crafting videos. And I had kind of already started to stop using him because you're right. He is a very selfish unit, right? So let's say I have Dizzy. I can just delay using my S3. Now he's just kind of standing there doing nothing. Even if I were to chuck my S3 out there, right? The only person who's not debuffed now is Champ Zerato, and I can abuse that if he brings me if they bring a Champ Zerato into like an SSB fight, like I can just sit there and abuse the crap out of him. I'm just gonna debuff him all the time. Give me my charges, man.
Mm-hmm.
Within reason, obviously. I don't want him to kill me, but regardless, I think that actually he's going to be low-key overpowered for A13 because he's not going to transfer the bleed back. The reason why he was so good for A11 was because you just chucked bleeds back. You were healing all the time. Now he's not going to do that, and he's going to be counterattacking nonstop. So that's going to be able to take care of the eggs in the front for people who don't have, a Vildred or any other good AoE units like me.
Oh, you're right. Wait a minute, because if you don't build him with effectiveness, he'll get resisted. And then you get free AoEs. Wait, that
free AoEs and lifesteal, and people be like, "But you're not gonna strip with the violin." Bold of you to assume that I'm not using Daydream Joker on him with a pile of crit damage, and I'm using Adventurer Ross for my double up in my strip or my Falconeer Clary for the defense break and the strip. Boom. Yeah. Because I thought about that, because you have to have 65% chance to even have a remote chance at doing anything. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to ping pong all of this back and forth.
I did not think of that. I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
He's still gone, but
oh yeah, no, I'm treating him
so Deity, you're on the boat of he's out of here.
He's gone. I just need Mola back. That's it. Like I have all ML4 stars except for Sangelica and SS Acades. I don't really care for either. Sangelica could be kind of cool. So that's probably what I'll snag with it. But I just need Mola back. I heavy invested in my Champion Zerato. So
mine's plus 15. Yeah.
So
I was looking at it and I'm like, Plus, I don't have a Tempest Ernest. The only ML4 star that I don't have, but I do have a couple of Champ Zerato dupes into him. So I'm going to make him into a Tempester and then going to have them give me a Champ Zerato back. And then I'm just going to rebuild him, and he's literally forever going to be in A13. Now maybe I'll actually have some immunity sets, which I only have like 3 pieces of immunity gear. So
do you think you'll be able to come out, Cass, a 3-man A13 team with them? With them being able to
I think I can, yeah.
I might have to
with Falconeer Clary, the speed on my Falconeer Clary should keep pretty much all buffs gone off of there. Plus you'll have the residual healing if I have a Tam in there. Slap on maybe a Shamadra staff or something along those lines to just make sure that the heals are just going like crazy, yeah, 3-man could probably be doable.
So this is actually weird for me. I know we're all really, really excited, and I wouldn't have it any other way with our recalls and being able to exchange and stuff like that. But I was honestly surprised that they continued with the trend of selector tickets, right? Because I thought that they weren't nerfing, I guess, like ML5s to prevent another ML5 selector. But with this champion Zerato fix, right? Because he was bugged. Okay, he was bugged. That's
Yeah.
what we're going with. They're giving us another selector. So does that mean that anywhere in the future, if they nerf an ML5, do we just get a selector again? Is that what we want?
I think
here?
so, and that's
Hey,
why.
Tywin.
Yeah, nerf a Tywin. No, actually, I think they should. But regardless, no, I think the thing is right. They set the precedence when they nerfed MLR and when they nerfed Sage Ball and they gave the selectors, that set the precedence. And one of the big things I feel like with Smilegate is if they did that and they didn't do it again in the future, they would have like original KR levels of drama, review bombs. Everybody would be super mad. Even the people who don't have the unit that's getting nerfed would be all on the review bomb train, because as soon as like they start foaming at the mouth, everybody goes on it. So I think that's kind of really they set that. So that's why honestly I think that they're very hesitant to touch any ML5s. Like I think that, they don't want to go, oh, here you go, have whatever ML5 you want. Instead, they're going to continuously make counters or alternative counters or, something along those lines. So
yeah, that's been the really weird part. And I was looking back in the day at the original Arbiter Vildred buffs, and one of the nerfs that I was saying that they needed to do was like make the mischance not 100% chance to land. And apparently that was part of the original buff, right? That it was like 75% and it went to 100 for no reason, right? He didn't need that. Why is he such a good debuffer, right?
Yeah.
But speaking
because it's actually like 150%.
Yeah, of course.
Never fails.
He always gonna land that. But speaking of creating alternate counters instead of nerfing units, you already know who it is. HU Fine, we gotta talk about that. What are we calling her? And with the release of HU Fine, is Bazaar dead?
No, Bazaar's never gonna die. Bazaar is never going to die. I think that while she is also I'd like to point out that Bazaar is not the problem. Abyssal Crown is the problem. Abyssal Crown needs to get nerfed. And I don't know why they thought that it was a good idea to make a warrior Abyssal Crown. Seems pretty silly to me, but I think that it's one unit. We heard the Bazaar is dead with Kowarik, right? We heard the Bazaar's dead with Elfelt. I think that Bazaar has like an immortality buff that can't be stripped regardless of Soulburn. Like that's just kind of how that is, because the thing with Bazaar is you don't really need anything but speed and effectiveness on him for him to do his job. Even if a lot of times, like in Cleave, even if he were to just get destroyed right out the gate, he did his job, which was to get rid of all of the buffs and push you back. So if even with, let's say HU Fiend on there, right? So she dodges. Well, what if like you have another enabler right after him that's just going to come through and cleave the rest of her team? Now you have a whole team that's just gonna kill her afterwards, and she doesn't do enough damage right out the gate. A lot of people are like, "Oh man, once she gets the greater attack." You want me to go get my dogs? I can get my dogs and put them up on the chair as well. Maybe. But I think that even with a greater attack, she just really doesn't do enough damage. I think that it'll be interesting to put her in with with more debuffers, right? Like a Mui, something like that. So you just strip and just stack, and then they just die from bleeds and burns, and like SB Aura, stack that in there. That would be really fun. And then I'll be happy because I will have 300 effect resist.
So I think it's weird, right? It's weird that there's such a direct counter to Bazaar. I'm a little bit upset with how they're doing Holiday Euphine because she counters control as well, right? She has 50% evasion, and the bane to control is evasion, right? Because you can't do anything about it. And so going into a match against Holiday Euphine, she has a 50% chance to just resist my strip or whatever, and then she can cleanse. She cleanses 2 debuffs, and I know that's made for Bazaar's unbuffable and his Abyssal Crown that we know that he's carrying, but it just counters crowd control so hard, right?
It really
perfect.
Does. And I think that honestly, with Mui coming out, right? I know you use her a lot. I really, really like her. If I were going to build a control team, she would be the core of that. And a lot of people compare her to, an Alencia, and I'm like, she's not. Stop. Just stop. I'd also probably put in Ice Dom as well, because I really, really like Ice Dom. But that aside, it does seem kind of like they go, okay, here is a unit, here's the answer. Now, the evasion and elemental disadvantage doesn't really do too much in terms of you still have a 50-50 chance. Now, the hard counter to Bazaar is nice. Now, one of the things that I noticed with both ML Iseria and Holiday Euphine, Seaside Euphine, is that unlike some other units, like let's take ML Haste, for example, who's a hard counter, right? If you don't have a reviver, ML Haste is still good, but his gimmick is you can't use it. Whereas with Iseria and Seaside Euphine, even if the hard counter unit that they have isn't present, I mean, she still has 50% evasion. Even if it's not against Bazaar, she still has 50% evasion. ML Iseria, even if you're not going up against people with evasion, I mean, she still has the Drinkabarius Tooth proc. So it's a little bit, so it's like a counter, but it's also its own unit with that little bit of extra. And I honestly, if they continue to go that route, I would actually be okay with that, because it still gives that unit utility outside of just being an arbiter villager counter.
So, Deity, I know you also play control, right? I'm not the only control player in the call.
Yes.
Are you going to be pre-banning her? What's going on? What is our game plan versus Holiday Euphine? And with the base question, do you think it's going to kill Bazaar? Because I know that you de-geared your Bazaar, right?
Yeah. So I relied on Bazaar. Bazaar was my best built unit, plus 30 crown, a bunch of effectiveness. Everyone hated him. I was a EU server. I had really good speed gear. He outsped everything. And it carried me. It carried me for forever, just because he was so broken. And whenever she came out, once she comes out, you won't really see. Was that me? Okay, sorry if you guys heard that, but you won't really see Bazaar on defenses anymore, because there's no point to put him on defense. He'll still be good in RTA. You can still bring him in arena offense, I feel like, but I have to take him off my arena offense and my Guild War defense, or Guild War off defense and arena defense. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think Bazaar is dead, because at least in RTA, right? In RTA, you could last pick him if your opponent is picking Elena, Fallen Cecilia. You still slot in that Bazaar. He's still gonna do Bazaar's job. But on arena defense, I feel like it's going to be significantly weaker, especially because, you're using Holiday Euphine to gain an advantage. I run a cleave that's Faithless Litica, Oxlotch, Judge Kisei, C-Dom. I can throw C-Dom out of there, put Holiday Euphine, and every Bazaar team is free, because now he'll go hit into me. My Faithless Litica would have been pushed back to, non-existence, but now I just push her back forward. and I can continue what I was doing in the first place, right? All that unbuffable is gone, any stuns are gone, and so it's going to be a lot easier to deal with, and it might shake up the arena defenses for the coming meta. I know I personally am running like Cerise, Tenebria. You remember the old Cerise, Tenebria defense? I'm running Cerise, Tenebria, Avil, SSB, and that defense is going really well. Always is over like 60% win rate. But I can't see him on these defenses anymore, because I know, especially even today, like with ML Haste, right? I was fighting against Arbiter, Vildred, Remnant Violet teams, right? Because, like you said, ML Haste is good into other things. She just doesn't have the revive gimmick. You can use him into evasion units, because 75% damage of his like 10k hit is still 7.5k, right? I executed the Remnant Violet. I fluffed damage to Ruel and then killed everybody with SSB. Like, it just didn't matter, right? It is nicer though that they are releasing units with a more wide spectrum of uses, because I know the Abyssal Crown, I don't know why she has that. Abyssal Crown is going to be strong on that AoE skill 1, but like at the same time, she counters crowd control, and so I don't like her. Nerf her, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
There's one easy solution though for all of us that did run Basar on our defenses, and is that a topic later?
No. You can go.
Oh, it's Broman. Just slap Broman there. He works. He works insane. He's carrying me again. I just moved my Basar gear to him, so I have a 281 Broman with like 180 effectiveness right now.
Mm-hmm.
He just shuts down everything, and this is pre-buff. Post-buff, he ships two buffs every time, and then just keeps cycling, and he gets like more pushback. His minimum pushback he can do is 15%. So you can still bring Holiday Euphine into him. There's still a 50% chance he's going to strip your Holiday Euphine Silencer, possibly Stunner. So you're running the same rate with Broman as you would have with Basara into a Lilius. So it ends up being, and the silence is better. Like, silence is so OP.
Yeah, 2-turn silence is so strong. So ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do think that oh man, no, I lost it. So the way that they could overcome the Basar counter, right, is, and this is something that I've seen run up against me previously, is crit Basar. And Basar is the enabler for CDOM. CDOM is about like 200 speed, so she's going to cut like everything that moves. And then you have two cleavers that are not the slowest thing in the world, but still high damage, and then they just wipe you off the face of the earth. And I'm just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, those, like, Cerise gets used kind of in those situations a lot too. And but for RTA, luckily it's easy to draft against, because if they try to do a Basar, you just pick fire. They try to
and you could bamboozle them with a damaged Flitica.
Yes.
I've gotten bamboozled by some damaged Fliticas before, and I'm like sitting there. Actually, I think it was like one of the last streams that I RTA'd, and I'm like, going in, I'm like, okay, this is fine. This Flitic is not going to do too much to me. All of a sudden, she like S3s me for like 9,000 damage, and I'm like, yo, what? I'm like, did that just hit me for 9,000 damage? And I'm like, man, I got bamboozled hard. I'm like, I was like looking at back at it, I'm like, where did all my hit points go? I'm like, holy crap. And I thought it was like, that it was okay because she wasn't very fast. I thought that was like the bait. They were going to be like, oh, he probably is going to ban Flitica. No, I got destroyed.
The scariest thing with her is when she gets her turn in S2, she gets to S3 right after. She's killing something no matter what. She'll kill you Ruel. She'll kill a Ruel or whatever off that combo.
And honestly, I should have thought about that, because when Flitica first came out, I ran Flitica cleave teams. I would push her forward with Oxlots. I'd have Iseria CDOM. I would S2 everything. CDOM would push forward, kill something. Iseria would reset S2. You'd S2 again, and then you just wiped off whatever else was left. And it was actually the last team I ever cleaved with, because I personally just don't like cleave. But that was the most fun that I ever had with cleave, and I'm like, I'm probably never going to have as much fun with cleave ever again, other than like bruiser cleave. But it's just fun watching Alencia delete things off of the map, because I run very high damage Alencia, because people will be like, hey, why don't you have any effectiveness on your Alencia? And I'm like, you don't need to strip them when they're dead.
Yeah.
So best form of CC, just kill them. So you'll have, but yeah, no. So I definitely think that it will be interesting to see how people kind of adjust to that. Personally, at first, I was on the fence. I was only going to roll like maybe one or two. I wasn't really going to go too ham for it, but then I was like, man, that artifact's too good. Why is every limited artifact way too good and too hard to pull?
I was joking about this earlier with my Twitch chat, and I was kind of like, hey guys, are you ready to summon for a championship trophy tomorrow? We're having a championship trophy summoning session, right? Because let's be honest, we're summoning for artifacts at this point.
Right.
I just think it's kind of hilarious because it's best in slot for her. You know, you gotta
Absolutely.
get it.
I still think that it would be amazing on Mui as well. I mean, sure, it's not AoE, right? But it provides effectiveness, and you can debuff into a potential stun. Sure, it's single target, but I still think that it's pretty solid if you're looking for evasion and the potential for that single target lockdown.
Yeah, I've been using Oath Key actually
on
my Mui to fight against the red units, right? Give me that little bit extra chance, the remnant violets. I just want to get that
so you can stun and break my my fire Ravi.
Yes, exactly. So I do want to. Oh, I have one more question about Holiday Euphine. I guess we didn't decide on a name, or are you just calling her H Euphine?
See, I personally have just been calling her SS Euphine.
SSY, but she's not
Seaside.
She's not Seaside.
It doesn't matter. Everything from here on out is going to be Seaside for me. They could name it whatever they want. It's Seaside Euphine. I'm just going to keep the moniker forever. Everybody else will call her something else. They'll be like, "You mean Seaside Euphine?" That's what it is. Seaside Charles when though?
True. Yeah,
right?
We're waiting for the husbando. But do y'all think she's gonna be on defense at all? Like, we didn't really talk about that. Do you think you're gonna see her on defense?
I don't think so. I think that there's too many other ways around it. Like, you're gonna have it where instead of bringing up a SAR to enable, you're just gonna bring an Oxlot's Cleave or Dark Corvus or any other number. You're just going to be like, oh, look, I have options. I'm just not going to bring what she counters.
Yeah.
And then just,
Okay, so I'm gonna open up the floor right now, and we're gonna switch over to open discussion. We have two more little topics for us. We're gonna have open discussion. Is there anything that y'all want to talk about? I mean, this is gonna be like a bi-weekly podcast. Any topics y'all want to bring up that we didn't mention already, or just
they're all bullying me.
Yeah,
everybody's bullying you.
Deity, do you have a topic that you want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, hold on. Let's let them decide. And
we're gonna have chat questions afterwards. We're gonna have chat questions afterwards.
It's still us.
This is us open discussion, right? So if you got anything, feel free to say what you got to say. You got the floor.
Can I pass for a second? Can Shogun? let me think how to word this.
So, what do you think of the Epic 7 board game coming out before any realistic merch that isn't $30 in shipping for an acrylic standee?
Wait, we get a board game?
Yes. They put. Oh, you guys haven't seen it?
Oh
man!
No,
so I don't know if you follow like their Twitter or their Instagram or anything like that. Well, they don't have a Twitter. JP does. They put it out. I believe it was yesterday or the day before. A board game, and they had been teasing it for a hot minute on Instagram by throwing up like what were looked like photoshopped cards, and I'm like, bro, cards? That's tight. If they did like some sort of like card game, I'd be kind of down for that. And then they're just like, boom, we're doing a board game, and I'm like, where's my Archie plushes? You can make a whole ass board game, but you can't make me Archie plushes.
That's what got me too. When I saw the shop, I was like, oh, I can finally get my girlfriend, the Archie plush that she's. But no Archie plush. Nope,
no
not
Archie
there.
plush. Not only that, but like if you bought one of the towels to ship it to the States, it was something like $45.
Yep.
You buy a towel for like $10, it's like $45 shipping. It was ridiculous, and I'm just like, bruh, oof. And then everybody's showing me pictures of the merch in the Wendy's collab, and I'm just like, bro, why is everywhere besides here and everywhere else? Like, why does everybody else over on that side of the world get all the cool stuff and we don't have Molagoras?
So you know, so you wait. But so you notice. So when I saw the Wendy's collab, I was so confused because it said Wendy's First Kitchen, and I was like, wait a minute, Wendy is a redhead. Wendy is from America, and I looked it up, and it was like in like Oklahoma or Columbus, some random state is the real first Wendy's. Why is it not in America?
No, I don't remember what the story was, but I remember the first time that I went over there as well. I saw that and I was really super confused, and I remember looking it up, but I have absolutely no idea. I don't remember what it was. I'd have to go look it back up. But Japanese Wendy's is actually super good. Actually, all their fast food is so good, and they have really weird things like teriyaki burgers, and you're just kind of like, huh,
sounds good.
All right, gonna try this. But no, it's if anybody listening to this is actually in Japan right now, I swear, just let me know how much, and I will buy literally everything from the Wendy's collab. You ship it to me. I will simp for Wendy's Epic 7 merch. Japan gets everything first. Everything.
Oh, so about this board game though, I can't find it. Be sure to link it to me. Link
I'll link it to you. I'll link it to you.
Hey, y'all trying to get together and have a board game night? Hey,
absolutely, dude. When cons start back up, we'll play it. There you go. It's in chat. It's Epic 7 Arise.
Oh,
we'll get it. And I'll bring my deck because my grandfather's deck has no pathetic cards. Cafe Kaz.
True. Wow, this looks so cool.
I'll send you to the Shadow Realm.
Oh no.
We might have to duel on motorcycles.
That could be fire. I still don't understand how those cards. They had no sleeves either. I don't know how those cards were flying off everywhere. They were good.
Anime magic, dude. Anime magic.
So Deity.
Okay, so my question is, now that Twitch Prime is coming, the little Twitch Prime thing, this is a huge opportunity for Epic 7 to just explode. Like, free mobile game, people are going to click on there and be like, what is this? This art looks amazing, because that's one of the things that Epic 7 just does better than anybody, in my opinion. It's going to be very appealing to people who click on that, especially if they do it right and put the right things on there. Put Fire Tenny on there, please. But if they have that and a bunch of people start joining, how good or how welcoming is the game to new players now, to where they, like, if they want to get seriously into it, that they'll actually stick with the game more than just the initial 2 weeks? Like, do you guys feel like the game is at a point to where now is a good time to release this, or do you think it would have been better if they waited a little bit, maybe fixed a couple of things?
So I think we're actually in one of the best possible spots for new players that we have ever had, right? Because if you notice, they did not stop the 7-day login event where you get that free attack and that free health set. So by playing for 7 days, hey, that's your Wyvern set. Hey, you have the Adventurer's Path. Hey, there's another damage dealer set, right? You know, it's not, you don't have to do that like random, okay, go to this box in Labyrinth and pick up that boot over there, and then go to Arena Shop and grind out 1,200, 1,800 things in Arena and get an attack ring for yourself. There's none of that anymore. Montmorency is free. We've just got so many great units available to everybody, right? It's just
back in my day, we had to walk uphill both ways in the snow with level 55 blue gear to finish Wyvern 8. Yeah. No, but I do agree with you, Kaz. I think that right now is a really, really good time. They're making it easier. So if you bond 10 friendship, you're going to get those 3 basically free Molagoras, which is really huge.
That is huge.
Not only that, but you know, you're right. There's Monts free. If you're on the Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime train, you're getting a crit set and a Destro set. Not only that, but 80 Leafs. You're getting all kinds of other stuff. Not only that, but I think that the timing is very perfect for them, because I mean, what's coming up next month? The 2nd anniversary.
Yes.
So, you know, and like last year, it was a lot of good stuff, and then it's just like, boom, here's a free 5-star. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, they're probably gonna just do just as much, if not more, this year. Um, and I think that they're gonna make it a big spectacle, just because. I mean, you have the thing that they're doing right now, right, where they're having people submit, artwork, videos, messages, stuff like that. Which, if you guys haven't, just literally email them. You get 3 free leafs just for saying, "Hey, thanks for making this game for 2 years." I mean, I saw some people complaining like, "Oh, that's not enough for the effort." I'm like, you literally email somebody, bro. You literally email somebody. It's not that hard. But it's like, I think that, they're going to make it a bit more of a spectacle, because one of the big things I tell people is, I'm like, the game right now is a completely different game than 2 years ago. Hell, it's a different game than a year ago. It's constantly changing. I think that they're very, very generous to new players. Just, if you're a new player, don't spend any of your Molagoras until you have an adult look at your count and tell you where you should spend them.
Yeah, true.
The biggest the biggest thing I'm afraid of is the point where people get to where they don't know what to do once they clear story, or if they're struggling with story. I guess the nice thing is, with it being a Twitch Prime thing, means a lot of those new players will be on Twitch. So it's gonna come down to like the streamers of the community. Like, there's gonna be like a heavy weight on their shoulders that they kind of got to help these people to help grow the community. So
yeah, so I've actually kind of preemptively started doing that on YouTube, where, like, if I see a question come up multiple times in like my chat or Discord, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to make a video, because chances are somebody else has a question about, something. Or if somebody's like, bro, I didn't know that you could just go into Labyrinth, buy everything off Hutch the Scamster, and then yield out and keep it. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh, there's like, because there's a lot of things that we as veteran players, you didn't know that?
I said
there's still
Oh, there's still. I thought I only heard like half of that, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. I'm like,
no. Hey, I've been around.
I actually ran into. I didn't know that you could change imprint from group to self in the RTA screen when you're after ban. I was like,
I learned
that in my chat, and I'm like, or in my comment section, I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? And they're like, you're like a legend level player. You didn't know that? And I'm like, I literally never thought about that. I was never like, bro, you know what I need to do right now? I need to change this imprint. Most of the time I put it on self imprint, and I'm like, good enough for me.
Yeah, I learned that from your stream yesterday, I think. It was one of your streams. I saw you do it. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, huh.
I'm actually,
all right, well, you know.
I'm actually really, really happy that they're doing this whole Twitch Prime, or Amazon Prime thing before the second anniversary starts, because I feel like, and this is just talking about like the Guilty Gear collab, right? One of the hardest things for new players when they come in during a collab is you're just bombarded with like everything. It's just like events and summon this and take all of this stuff right now, and you're just trying to figure out how you run a stage, like how you move left in Labyrinth. You don't really understand what's going on, and so they miss out. So I think it's also a lot nicer that they're running this before any like excessive events. We're getting Holiday Euphine. They have a little bit of time to summon for that, and they can do what they want to do before we kick it into super high gear.
Right, because definitely, like with with the Holiday Euphine being some pretty solid waifu bait. You're gonna be like, oh hey, I get all this free stuff. I get into this game. I get to roll for this thing. She's super cute. And so you're gonna get a lot of people in. And Deity, you were right. There's a lot of times, especially like early on, I would have people in my streams, in my Discord. They're like, I just don't know what to do. And on the surface level, you're like, oh, it's a gacha game. There's not too much depth to a lot of them, but
this one's the most in-depth one.
Dude,
yeah, there's a lot.
That's why I literally dropped everything. It took me a long time to do it, but I dropped everything I was doing, and I'm like, this game, because once you get a little bit under the hood, you're like, dude, this team synergy, builds, all kinds of stuff, theory crafting, and you don't know what's coming for the next 2 years. So literally every other Wednesday is Christmas. It used to be every Wednesday, and then they started doing every other Wednesday, so data miners couldn't data mine stuff.
Yeah.
So they're like, stop data mining our stuff. So now it's like every other Wednesday. I mean, I literally wake up at 5 a.m. to watch the streams. And it's real hard to get me to wake up before like 9 on any other day. But like, I go to sleep early, I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, dude, what are we getting today? What are we getting today? I'm not hyped for any new units because they ain't got no molas. And then they drop some stuff and I'm like, hype train has arrived, boys.
That's what got me last week, and I still don't know anything about the friendship. I'm trying to figure it out. They just threw that in there. They're like, yeah, holiday, you fiend. I was like, oh, cool, Iseria. And then they're just like, yeah, free Molagora. Haha, we're not going to tell you anything about it, though.
Say, though, the absolute best thing out of that patch, 10 times crafting.
Yeah, that was really nice as well. Oh, yeah, true win. Yeah, he has tons of mats. Yeah.
Oh, my God, man. It's just, it made my life so much better, but now I burn through like 30 million gold in like an instance because I'm just like, just pounding through it, and then I'm like, wait, where'd all my gold go?
Yeah, I'm a weird player. I run 3 Wyvern runs, I go craft a ring. And I run 3 Wyvern runs, I do one.
So
I run Wyvern for like 2 weeks, and then I craft all of it.
I'm an immediate crafter myself, but I want to get on to the final, I guess, like topic here. We're gonna have some questions from chat. I saw Solo CPU do a highlighted message, so I'll field his question first. He said, at CafeCast, and you can ask anybody these messages. You can say if it's a general question, obviously we're all going to talk about it. What changes do you want to see in the RTA system next season? Daily limit shop. So I talked about this a lot on my channel previously, but I guess, like, you know, not everybody saw it. I want some type of RTA shop, yes. I think that it kind of sucks for you to play like 2,000 games. I saw people with even more than that, like 3,000 games all season, and then you get nothing, right? It's not like Arena where you get conquest points every single match. You're just kind of playing to play, and there's no, I guess, like milestones or anything like that. And instead, like, you could just get screwed out of Legend at the very end, and now you don't even get your border, even though you held it for the whole season. I think like some type of shop with cosmetics, you know, if they want to put skin tickets in there, you know, maybe like 5-10 skin tickets a week, something like that, or whatever else they want to throw in there. Hey, give me conquest points. I don't care. Just some kind of a tangible shop, I think would be really nice. And just to answer the second part before I throw this off to the other 2 members of the podcast, is that I think a daily limit could work. I think introducing a daily limit after having no limit would be rough. I know that another mobile game that I used to play had a 30 daily limit. Thinking about it now, I think a 50 daily limit would be really, really nice, because it's not something that you really need to hit every single day. But at the same time, it allows streamers to have that extra content. The people who really do love RTA and want to continue playing so much can play. And then the daily limit would also stop people from grinding 24/7 and keeping our inflation system, because I know some streamers, I know some players that during the last like couple days of RTA, they're playing 24/7, right? I was up for like the last 20 hours of RTA. I wasn't playing during all of it, but I was in calls with my guild, with my friends, and we were just watching the points skyrocket, and it was just ridiculous. And they have an inflation system inside of the game where the problem is that, like, if I'm fighting Deity, okay, say we're close to each other, maybe 100 points difference. If I fight Deity, I beat Deity, and then he beats me. We both go up for 2 points. The problem is that if you have no limit, but you also have an inflation system, the points will continue to rise infinitely, because we're all in that same bracket of points, so it just goes up. And we just watched it. We had like a graph. We were doing like Excel spreadsheets and just watching the points. It was interesting to look at that data as it just like ramped up infinitely, because people just spamming games.
So I think that for me personally, I hate doing Arena. For me, it is literally me playing against somebody else's AI-driven PvE. I really don't like it. I feel like there's you have literally all of the advantage, and your defense is always at a disadvantage. So you can't just go in and draft You can't outdraft them, you can't outplay them, you can't do whatever. And I think that I personally would prefer that my weekly Sky Stones could either come from, dude, Deity, you can interrupt me anytime you want. That's actually one of the things I tell the other people on my other podcast. I'm like, if you want to say something, just feel free to put your foot in there, because I will easily talk forever. But I think that honestly, like, if I could opt to either take whichever one of the two is the higher one for me and completely forget about the other one, that would be my best one, because I would just RTA all the time. I just don't like Arena at all, but I love RTA 1600 games. And like you were saying, 24/7, there would be times where I would just literally start playing before bed, and then it would be like the middle of the next day, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I've been playing RTA for 14 hours and haven't done anything at all. So that would be my option. I do think that there does need to be some sort of incentive, right? Because if you look at it, a lot of the player base was just like, I'm just going to wait until like the last couple days, get my S10 skin, and then never touch it again. But on the flip side with that, right, is if there was some sort of big reward for being up at the top other than just a frame, then you're going to have people on the flip side complain about how it's unattainable and all of that stuff. It's a tough fence to sit on, but that would be my option. I would just want to be able to get my weekly Sky Stones or Mystics, who takes those, from RTA instead of Arena.
They could always implement the 10 points per every win/loss for RTA.
I think
people
that
are climbing up to 10,000 by
yeah, I don't know if that would fix the inflation issue. I saw somebody in chat say that like they need to remove one or the other, and I agree, right? One has to go. Either the inflation system, or they gotta limit it. If they stop the inflation system, we're cool. The points aren't gonna climb. But if they don't stop the inflation system, we need some other kind of stop, because like you can lose all the time, like, and still just climb up to whatever you need for the skin, whatever you need for the border. I saw people in Legend with like 5,000 games, 45% win rate. They were there. They were chilling.
Hey,
it didn't
you know
matter.
What? It's that grind, man. 5,000 matches. You don't have to win all of them. You just got to win the important ones.
Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of players who, especially the higher ranked Legend, or the people that were competing for Legend at the very end, a lot of them were frustrated, right? I'm close friends with a lot of them, as I'm sure y'all are as well, where like, oh, I was Legend for the whole season, I didn't get it. I was at work, and I couldn't grind as much as these other people who weren't at work. Or like these other obligations that people have. And so while I don't want it to be necessarily limited, because free content, you know what I mean? But like, and it's something that I really, really enjoy, I don't know if it's really healthy for the game to force these top 100 players to go 24 hours RTA rush, right? And I know somebody in this call has done a 24-hour RTA stream. Could not be me. I don't know if I could survive that long. But also one of the other suggestions I saw was that you expand the ladder to 150 players. People said there are like 200 people going for Legend. If 150 people got it, it would be fine. I think 102 got it this season or whatever, because a 5-way tie for last place, right?
Yeah. I do think that the last day was probably one of the more stressful days, struggling with, getting dropped multiple times in games because my internet decided to crap out. Then also just having people stall team near the end. It was a very stressful day. And honestly, like, I was so tilted at the very end of it by just not getting back up into Legend that I just like had to take the next like day off of the internet. And it really was, because like you're sitting there and like the closer the clock was to the end, you're just getting more and more tilted because everything's not working out your way, and then you get frustrated and then you start losing, and it was just a bad day overall. And one of the takeaways from last season is that I'm just going to grind as much as humanly possible at the beginning and middle of the season so that I am comfortably up near the top, so I don't have to do that again.
Yeah.
I want to pull a Cafe Kaz where I play one game and get myself back up into Legend.
Yeah, that was crazy. It was like my last match was against an Asia server player who had no idea who I was, right? And, you know, I'm just, not to toot my own horn, but a lot of people seem to know who I am at this point. So it was really, really nice that I dropped to champion, right? I was champion rank 1. I matched against another champion player. He had no idea who I was. He picked, like, Cerise Dizzy. I picked Vivian Ray, and I was like, yes! My win! And I shot up from rank 1 champion to rank 24 legend. It made no sense. It was just so tight.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so that's an interesting question, Kaz. As a streamer and content creator, are we at a much larger disadvantage in RTA just because everybody knows what we run?
Oh yes, of course, right? I get target banned all the time. People walk up to me, they ban Fire Tenny. I'm like, okay, dude.
My Broman hasn't seen the light of day in 4 days.
So at one point, when everybody was just either first picking or banning my Alencia, I actually just completely stripped her and then like moved her gear over to like a Ravi.
Oh, that's smart.
Because literally for like a week and a half, I could never use her. And I just started getting every time. I'm just like, you know what? All right, cool. I'm just going to move this today. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to move this over to her. And then I was like, all right, cool. I'm just going to start clapping people with a Ravi. And then like they started moving away from banning Alencia. And I'm like, okay, Alencia, you have your clothes back. You know, so it's like, I honestly feel like, especially for us. Oh yeah, I see Melvin in the chat. I target ban Melvin all the time.
Is Melvin the martial artist Ken user?
Martial artist Ken and the Lilius Cleave. And that's actually one of the other really cool things is, especially when people run things like that and you just remember it, you're like, bro, you cleaved me with the Lilius. I'm not letting you do that again, bro. We're done. There was a Moonrune name with a plus in the front. Dude had like the sickest Vivian ever. He would run Moonlight Rin and like Vivian, and at one point, no matter who I banned, the other ones sucked and just wrecked me. So I just started bet pre-ban Vivian, and then started winning like that. But it is kind of interesting, like at the top, right? You play the same people so much that it's a completely different world. I'll see talking like, people like Champ or Challenger Masters, and they're like, oh, this is the meta down here. And I'm like, man, nobody runs that. I'm like, nobody runs this unit. And they're like, no, it's the most oppressive thing in the world. People would be telling me about how oppressive Maid Chloe was last season. And I'm like, who's not running DN or Ruel? I'm like,
I didn't see any Maid Chloes. There was no Maid Chloe.
I'm like, that's it, bro. Personally, I've been playing around with Maid Chloe, Falconer Query on Shamadra staff, and the healing is super nutty and fun. But it's interesting because like once you get up there and you start knowing people, I'm like, oh, it's Cafe Kaz. You're not playing with a colleague today. No way am I letting you do that. Potato balls. I have no idea what to ban against that guy because he has everything. He has everything. He's a monster. Although last season I did get like 2 wins against him, so that counts.
But that's what gets scarier too, though, is that like when the champion players, the champion police, right, came to drag all the legend players back down. They were terrifying. And Kyojin in the chat is actually one of them. He would come in with the troublemaker Crozet, and you're just like, what is this character? What does it do? He just
is so good.
You're like, he just stunned me. His skill 1 is a stun. What's going on? I need to go read the wiki.
Why can't I destroy this unit in the back? They're squishy. What is going on here?
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely weird. Yeah, definitely you do get more known. So I wouldn't say that streamers are at a complete disadvantage, but they begin to know our box better, right? And I'm a streamer who exposes my stats all the time. I know some streamers aren't as comfortable with it. Just showing all your, like, you ask me if you want to see a unit, boom, I got a stat video out there. I'm just like, look, take a look, because like if you watch the stream for long enough, you're gonna calculate it and do whatever. I don't really care. I'll show you,
Right.
and I just have to play around it because it actually helped me out more as I got later into the season. I know on the last couple of days, everybody was banning the units that I wanted. Everybody was like first picking SSB versus me, and it taught me how to play differently. And so I remember Sui Stark in the chat said like, oh, well, you know, streamers get targeted out a little bit sooner. And that little bit sooner edge I had of getting used to being banned out actually helped me to secure legend, because I was like, sure, take away my units. I can bruiser now. And people were like, what? Cafe Kaz can play bruisers? What's going on? I've never seen it before. And I was like, yeah, they were in the back the whole time, dude. I was waiting.
Yeah, no, the first time I did a 24-hour RTA stream, I didn't have a ton of units like well geared. I had like a core. It was, you know, Alencia, Little Queen Charlotte, Lilius, DN for the most part. And I started going up against people that just drafted my whole team against me. And I'm just kind of like, wait, like I don't have anybody else. These are the units I've been using, like same 6 or 7 units. I'm like, I'm like, do I even have gear on these other units? And so like one of the big things for me was I started to learn how to play against my own team. And I think that also helped me with like a lot of diversity. So now it's like, oh, well, except when they pick Falconeer Quarry, because I mean, Falconeer Quarry is actually probably one of the more oppressive units in this game. I hate Falconeer Quarry, but I love using Falconeer Quarry. But that aside, you know, I tried to go, okay, well, if they pick Alencia, what's my option? That's why I built Fire Ravi. That's why I built, you know, Fire 5-head, because, you know, they pick Alencia, they pick Charles, and both of those units are going to just absolutely dunk on them, except for Charles, who crits and strips every K-Ron that exists in the game. But so I think that actually, you know, having those targeted bans do make you a little bit more flexible of a player, because if you don't ever get targeted, you don't ever have to use anything else.
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to stick with what you know, right?
Exactly.
And then sometimes I would go out of my comfort zone and I would try to like cleave or do some sort of other weird build. And then I'm like, yeah, no, I just dropped like 20 games in a row. Guess this isn't something that I'm doing. So
Gigi's has a question about, where does that Ruel behind you come from? This is open for a question for the chat. Anybody can ask any question they want to if we
So
catch
I actually
it.
got that at the first New York Comic-Con meetup that I got invited to, which was actually really weird because like when I got invited to that, I was not known for Epic 7 in the slightest. I didn't even really make much in the way of videos, and like Mashu hits me up on Discord and he's like, hey dude, so we're having this meetup. I know you made a video about it. Did you want to come to this? And I'm like, I have an anime con this weekend that I have to vend at, but I will go set up, drive 9 hours across PA to New York, sleep for 2 hours, go to the meetup, and then drive home to break down the next day. And at the end of it, they were just chucking they were going to get rid of everything.
What?
And actually I was hanging out with Goshen Plays, and he was like, if you guys are throwing those out, can I have one of those? And they're like, yeah, I'll see why not. And then I'm like, bro, if he's getting one, I'm getting one too. And I was like, I need Ruel because it's the ML5 that I don't have that I really want. And I'm like, I need to have this at least in real life.
You know, I'm not gonna dox myself, but I'm very close to NYC, right? So like, I was so sad because I was like around the corner from the convention, and they were like, "Nah, you can't come in." I'm just like,
yeah. Dude, if anime NYC actually happens, Kaz, I'm gonna be there. We should hang out.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, so yeah, Waterdad signed up for it too, and I'm just like, come on, dude, I wanna go hang out with the E7 people. But I went to a
No, it was really weird too, because like I mean, I had applied for like the content creator program a couple times, got hard ghosted, and I'm just kind of like, guys, I got I got like a fair to moderate amount of subs. Sure, my videos are only getting 500 views compared to my other videos that are getting like 40, but I'm like, whatever, we'll get there eventually. And then, yeah, they hit me up and they're like, hey, bro, you want to come to this? And I was like, yeah, dude, I had my streamer backpack and everything ready to go. I was like, this is good. I actually moved it forward because I was going to build it for my trip to Japan. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to this thing. I can stream this live. All right, done. Let's do this.
Well, does anybody else have any questions for any of the panel members here? At all three, what do you think will be the meta from the quarterfinals onward on Tenha's tourney, where we'll see players with the most insane gear fight it out? Okay. So he's asking, that's a tough question. That's really, really a tough question that Marco's asking, because a lot of what defined the meta ends up being broken, right? So if anybody has played Pokemon before, okay, and VGC, right? Usually what ends up Deity got excited. What ends up dominating those tournaments is somebody who does something slightly weird. Right, because it's that yeah, like the Pachirisu, it's that like unexpected factor, right? So I think it's going to be somebody who understands the meta well, has all of those units, built out and stuff like that, and then it's just tweaked it slightly. And yeah, then they'll just run through, right? Because nobody will be able to stop them. They're like, I didn't prepare my monsters for this. I don't know how to counter it. I need like 2 weeks in the lab. And what is he doing? He's got like a 900 res Surmia, and I can't crowd control it. It's one-shotting my whole team or something like that, right?
See, honestly, that's one of the big reasons why I try to diversify and try out different things, especially 3 stars, right? Because you might find something like that. There might be something that, maybe you build the perfect God Zerato, which a lot of people didn't realize, because I was talking about him the other night. I'm like, you guys know that he reduces the amount of healing to the other team, right? I'm like, you put certain things on him, bro is just gonna like cut in, disrupt, reduce healing on their tank team. I'm like, he's actually, you don't title things God whatever for no reason. I'm like, Mr. Clean needs a specialty change. But like the thing is, having like that diversity, that trial and error. I usually just do it on stream. I know a lot of other people I've talked to, they're like, yeah, as soon as mock battles came out, it was just mock battles all day, just testing different things against, some of the better players in the game. I usually just beat up randos from my Discord. So that's a lot of fun. But yeah, no, you're right. Like, it's just that one thing that's a little outside of the meta. Because like, take my Fire Ravi for example. A lot of people think that Fire Ravi is hot doo-doo. I get into arguments with people on Reddit all the time. I shouldn't get into arguments with people on Reddit, but that's a whole other thing. But they're like, Fire Ravi's garbage, right? And I'm like, yeah, but Fire Ravi is, real strong with the right build, with the right gear, in the right situation. Obviously, I needed something fire to start countering the oppressive Charles Alencia. Alencia made her way in to counter grass, and then it was like nobody had fire units built. You just had Fire Arby. That's about it. They ban your Fire Arby, and then what? What other options do you have? That's why I think like the prominence of like Fire Charlotte coming in after her buff, after Kia Soul just basically dropping that on the table and just being like, oh, hey, look at what I can do with this. Everybody else is like, oh, snap. I didn't even, I thought Fire Charlotte her buff was pretty good, but you kind of didn't, you were looking at something else. There was something else shiny at the time. You're like, oh, Charlotte, what's this, like her 7th buff? Is she competing with Tenebria on how many buffs she's gonna get?
Hey, Tendy needs more buffs. I'm just saying. Hey, 100% chance to sleep. I want it. Okay.
Well, like that's the thing is like the players that are in some of these bigger tournaments, your tournaments, Shuffles tournaments, Washables tournaments, Tenha's tournaments. I don't even know who's going to be in Tenha's tournament because I don't want to pay $20 to be in a tournament. But that aside, these are the people who set the meta, not follow the meta. They follow the meta to a point, but like these are your bleeding edge, like to reference World of Warcraft, these are your like top 10 guilds. These are the people who are getting world first. So yeah, they come out of the woodwork with like, just an insane green Armin that just, you're like, how do I even fight against this? I have never fought this before. It's those kind of things. And those are my favorite fights, actually. Like, those are some of the best fights, is when I just get absolutely destroyed by a unit that I don't see very often. Melvin drafts an ML Ken, and you're like, oh, it's probably just going to be a slow ML Ken, but it's like 200 speed and has like
it's fast. It's like 220, 230.
Ridiculous crit damage, and you're just like, bro, can I build one of those? Because that worked out real good on me, And I think that's always real fun. Sorry, my dog's mad about that ML Ken.
Yeah, he really doesn't like ML Ken.
He doesn't at all, Melvin. You're gonna have to knock that off. Upsetting my dogs here.
I do want to field one more question here, which Happy Feet asked. He said, do you think we might get a new hunt equipment set in the near future? And I'm going to field this question, and then I'm going to put an extra question on that of, if you could have any hunt set, what would you want it to be? I personally think that our sets are fine. I can't really imagine them adding another set, because like they add a lot of extra stuff to characters through like artifacts, through exclusive equipments and stuff like that. So you don't even need like a set that increases your allies' attack, because we have like Card of Small Miracles, or like Happy Bikini Akadi's water gun artifact that just came out, right? Like, so we don't really need those extra random sets. But yeah, sure. Yeah, somebody said Despair set, but like we have Abyssal Crown. We have Abyssal Crown, right? So we don't need a set that allows you to stun, because Smilegate already said, hey, mages, they get stunned. Holiday Euphine, she also gets stunned, but only on S1, right? So I don't think we, but
I mean, obviously, an evasion set would be super cancerous.
Yeah.
I mean, I would run three-piece, 3-set evasion sets on my Rylet with Violet's Talisman. Yeah, but that would be super gross. There's not really... The only thing, honestly, that I would actually like is a bit of a tweak up.
Yes.
For evasion set, or not evasion set, effect resist.
Okay, what I want is for health set, defense set, and effect resist set to have. Well, actually, health set you start with a barrier. Defense set you start with debuff, just like immunity set. You get 1 turn defense up. For health, you get a 1 turn barrier proportional to like health or something. And effect res, you get the effect resist buff, so that on turn 1 you're not getting. So it allows you to build effect res units. And Hidden Darkness doesn't have to care about that anymore.
Wait, that's like a great. Wait. Are you? So would that be like a 4 set? Like if you ran 4 of them, you would get that added bonus?
There's no reason not to run immunity right now. These sets aren't worth running over immunity. So now you can run a speed on Crow. You could run a speed with effect res, and you get effect res buff at the beginning. 50%.
Oh, so you want it as a 2-off? You want it as a 2-off?
Yeah, a 2-off. So then that way you don't always have to have immunity. You can go for other builds. You can farm Golem, and maybe there's a point now getting that defense buff first turn. Hey, that might save your unit turn 1. Like,
yeah, because it's real rough. Because like I want to farm Golem, because like I do have a couple of decent pieces, right? That even if I don't run it on, like, let's say I'm not running a speed set. Let's say I do have a hit HP set that has like good speed substats, and like overall I could build a really good, let's say 2-hit or a 2 HP, 2 defense, and then immunity, but I'm not going to go farm Golem. Literally, unless I want to outdo the Axe God from Reddit, there's literally no reason for me right now to farm anything other than Wyvern Banshee and Aether.
Come on, I love Golem.
Something smart in the chat too, the attack buff thing. So like attack set gives 1 turn attack buff at the start. It would make it to where, because right now, how many of your units that are built are on speed set? 85%.
Yeah, like 80.
Probably more than that.
Yeah,
I like weird sets, so I run a lot of lifesteal. I'll run some attack set, like my Tenebris on an attack set and stuff like that. I think. I think that if they were to balance up the 2 sets, I think that they should have a 4-set buff, right? Like, I really, really like your idea, Deity, but how I would do it is I would say, like, okay, well, if you want to run double defense set, you not only get the 15% or 12% or whatever it is from those. You know, I don't look at golem sets. You get whatever that bonus is, plus defense buff for running 4. So you get that over investment. So now you have units that are not always on speed set, but you can't overstack all of them. Like, you're not running shield, defense buff, immunity, right? Because that's just bonkers. Like, you're not taking that unit out.
Yeah,
right?
actually,
So I
feel
cool
like
to...
that's way more balanced, because I mean, right now, you know, unless it's like, you know, an Ken or somebody who gets an off-turn counterattack, like, there's no sense really at this point of using anything other than like speed set.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're cleaving, obviously, and then that's a whole different thing with your CR pusher. But like, yeah, no, almost everything that I have is on 4-piece speed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Which
stab boots, you know.
Yeah, then you
I
have
don't
immunity.
have
and just like...
but
Oh, yeah. You need to get into A13. I've seen those Wyvern mats, but...
That's why I build everything with, like, 200 effect resist, dude. Because I don't have immunity sets.
It's not enough.
I have, like, I have 2 of them. One of them is on Charlotte, and the other one... Oh, no, I have 3. I have one for SSB, Kayron, and Charlotte, and that's it. Everybody else... It sucks. Get more effect resist. That's my yeah. But no. I think that would be a good balance then, because that makes you kind of decide: do I want that initial, you know, that initial 2-turn buff, or do I want speed set? Right.
Yeah. I think that would be really cool, and I think that's a good place for us to, I guess, wrap it up here. We've been here for a while. I think it was a great first Rengar's Roundtable. I'll go ahead and let y'all, if you want to say any final words for yourself, shout out your channel, all that, and then I'll do the wrap up.
If you could Twitch Prime sub to Cafe Kaz.
Okay, you're not supposed to shout me out. Hey, shout yourself out. Hey, closing statement. Come on.
Okay, I stream occasionally. I'm really random, but if you ever see me live, I want to come hang out. I'm pretty toxic, but we try to have fun with it. I don't go too overboard, but like, I just try weird stuff, but I don't have a consistent time or anything, so I can't do too much. But yeah, if you ever see me live, come hang out maybe.
Shotgun Shogun, I upload anywhere from 1 to like 15 YouTube videos a day. There's actually not usually a day that I don't have something to talk about, which a lot of times I have to limit that, or else YouTube yells at me. I try to stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and every other Wednesday. I always stream the live stream, so that, you know, we can hang out and talk about whatever is going on in real time. I usually start around 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern, and I always say that it's going to be a short stream, but then it usually goes till 1 in the morning, and then I'm like, all right, one more RTA match. So yeah, also Twitch Prime sub to Cafe Kaz.
I like that. Hey, I mean, hey, if y'all want to say it, I'll take it. I want to thank both Shotgun Shogun and Deity for coming onto this podcast today, and especially Shotgun Shogun for creating this podcast with me. This will be a bi-weekly podcast. If you, and again, we fielded a couple of questions from chat today. If you have any other questions, or you want to talk about what was discussed, feel free to leave comments down below and we can continue the discussion there. You'll find the links of these wonderful streamers down in the description below, so be sure to check them out. And as always, this has been Cafe Kaz, and thanks for watching.